Did you know, according to Fortunately Stats and Facts on blockchain, financial institutions alone have spent $552 million on blockchain powered projects? More than 270 billion, that's billion with the B, in assets have actually been distributed in blockchain transactions. The percentage of companies that have already implemented blockchain technology is the largest in consumer products and manufacturing. We're talking about 33% of them in that sector. And finally, let's talk about the new kids on the block, chain. 44% of gamers have either purchased or traded game items using, you guessed it, blockchain technology. Sing it with me now, Rohan. Oh. Okay, no, we're not going to do that. Okay, let's not. Let's say we did. Speaking of the right stuff, ladies and gentlemen, Rohan Hall is the husband, father, author, oh yeah, and a CTO of a startup called Rocketfuel Blockchain. Rohan Hall, welcome to Epic Starts.
Thank you, Ed. Great to be here.
It is nice to have you, and an epic experience for all of us that are having the opportunity to listen to Rohan. I actually had my first opportunity not too long ago. It was, I think, at one of those conferences that we were at. But listen, you got Rocketfuel literally in the title, so I guess I get to ask the question out of the gate: are you ready to launch?
I am absolutely ready to launch.
Alrighty then. You heard the man. Rohan is here. My name is EP, and Epic starts right here. All right, so the backstory is we were in Los Angeles. What a great place. There's so much tech going on, especially with blockchain. And I think it was the NFT Expo verse, which was a pretty good show. You know, I actually it was the first one. I think it was actually maybe the inaugural. And I'm in there and I'm walking around. I'm doing the thing that I do. Those of you guys that follow me on social media, you know what I'm talking about. Having some fun, interviewing people, learning, acting like SpongeBob, soaking up as much information. And I sat down. My feet were hurting. I'm like, I'm looking at the agenda of speaking sessions, and it's back in the corner, and there's a stage back there, and I saw Rocketfuel Blockchain, and I can't remember what it was. The title was catchy, the marketing was catchy, everything was it was working for me. I sit down and I listened to, I believe it was your CEO, Rohan, if I can remember that, and he was doing a fantastic job explaining what you guys do, and I could tell that he was going to do the front half and you're going to do the back half. Well, we were at the LA Convention Center. They have this thing called the Labor Union, and their AV people work on the tech, and they were trying to get the tech going. So what I was really impressed with, aside from what I was learning about Rocketfuel, was, okay, now it's Rohan's time to get up there and start doing a demo. And guess what? We've all been there. Sometimes it just doesn't work. You're like, oh no, if you've been on a Zoom call, you've been on some kind of a conference call, or just, you're trying to get access to a VM to start working. What do? Demo failure, right? Epic fail. Well, not going to happen. Rohan gets up there. He was able to get one screen up on the screen, and he tells a story. And Rohan, you already know this because I told you this in the green room. Loved what you're doing. You're actually explaining the technology, telling the story, which was riveting. And you had a very short period of time to get the message across. And you know what? If you were sweating, I couldn't tell. And you did a fantastic job. And now I get to go forward and say, Rohan, please come on my show. I want to talk about Rocketfuel blockchain. And here we are. So talk to us about that event. First of all, do you remember like it was yesterday? Like, come on, guys, really?
Yeah. Well, thanks for that. Thanks for that intro. That the reality is, to be clear, the demo worked. The AV guys, it's the AV that wasn't working, right? Meaning, we were all geared up, ready to go.
Yeah.
They had everything that was needed, but the simple thing was to get the actual laptop projector to project where it's supposed to project, right?
Yeah.
Behind us. And for some reason, I don't know why it was so complicated. The team there just wasn't able to get that. So we it's kind of like a dance show, like yeah. But we know the material, so we were able to talk through it, to get some of the main points out while the the AV guys for the event were able to figure out how to project, a laptop
We got
screen.
to project it, but let's get some of those points out here, because I want to like really kind of just transition right there over to here, doing this episode. Let's talk about Rocketfuel. It's the company you're with. You're putting a lot of energy into it. What is Rocketfuel doing? Give us a little introduction so the people out there can start learning more about it.
Yeah, certainly happy to. So we're in this new world now. The new world is a Web3 world. And even though I think a lot of companies are just catching on to that, we've been a Web3 first company from day one, meaning that the technology that we have built and are continuing to build out is designed for this new world, meaning that everything we do, the foundation is blockchain, right? So what really happens there is that people have been focused on Web 2, which is really the internet technology, TCP/IP. And we've always seen the world that is just the first piece of it. When you integrate that with blockchain technology, then you have a whole slew of things that you can do. And what we've been focused on primarily is payment. So how can you pay for anything, anywhere, using a variety of different kinds of cryptocurrencies? And instead of just focusing on Bitcoin, which I think most of the industry, okay, Bitcoin, we support over 120 different cryptocurrencies that you can pay with today. We probably will have more than 200 different cryptocurrencies you can pay with today. What's cool about that is that not even if you have Bitcoin in your wallet, you may not necessarily want to use that, but you may have Dash in your wallet, right? Or you may have something else, Litecoin, or you may have Dodge or anything else. You may want to use those to buy that T-shirt or to pay for that dinner with your wife,
Concert tickets, right.
So we facilitate that, and we go further than that. Instead of sometimes it can be a bit confusing to use cryptocurrencies. We've kind of invented what's called a one-click crypto payment. So if you think of Amazon invented a one-click payment with credit card for the most part. And we looked at the industry a couple of years ago. In fact, our founder, Gert Funk, who really came up with some of the original concept of wanting to solve this problem. The main issue was for crypto at the time was it's there. We're not inventing crypto, but people are not really using it in the way that we believe they should be using it. And where payment is one of the main areas. So how can you make it easier instead of people having to figure out QR codes and all of these things? And so what we did, we just created a model similar to the model that Amazon does, that you can just pay directly from an exchange wallet supporting over 100 plus cryptocurrencies. So that's what we brought to the market. We were able to do that within our first year of the company. We're now in the second year. And what was great about that, as a really good validation of what we're doing, is we were able to connect with and partner with one of the largest payment service providers in the world. They're called ACI Worldwide. They have over 80,000 merchants worldwide that use them to pay with credit cards and other things.
So that's going to help. Just to cut you there for a second, that's going to help in terms of credibility to get out there in a real live environment. Because I'm thinking, for example, Apple Pay. You go in, to any merchant, we're all sliding a card. Lots of people in the middle that are getting paid, pennies on the dollar for the slides. Then all of a sudden the phone comes out, and now you can take the phone, flash it up, and you can use that as a payment. Do you see a time in the near future or very long term when I can take my phone with your application on it, my hot wallet built into it, and flash it to a receiving device to pay through any form of crypto?
Yeah, one of the things that we released this year is called Inster Payment, meaning that you can go into any store that already have our technology integrated. You can pull out your phone and you can just pay right there while you're standing in line. It takes you just a few seconds and walk out with your product. And so we're one of the really early ones to be able to figure out how to do that efficiently. You're not waiting around for half an hour or minutes to
See,
be able
that's
to.
game changing, because right there, you're one of the first pioneers to actually more or less create what I just threw down as a daily use case. And for me, I think one of the challenges that Web3 overall, big picture I'm talking right now, is to get people to adopt. And so at the end of the day, again, use the phone. Smartphone, guys, hasn't been around that long. But before it was here, people used to look at the smartphone like, oh, that's too dangerous. Apple Pay. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The thought of me taking a picture of my credit card and putting it into my phone. Right. So what we're talking about right now, what you guys have already developed, is it's baked. It's just a matter of adoption. So talk a little bit more about that company that you were saying earlier that you partnered with to get, I think it was 80,000 different access points. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you think of when you go and buy stuff, whether it's through Starbucks or you buy an airline ticket or you go buy something at KFC or some fast food, someone is processing those credit card payments. And there's a high likelihood that you've used ACI's technology in some of those retail establishments or other establishments. So they facilitate credit card and other payments with some of the largest retailers in the world, and high probability that you've made a payment with your technology. They decided last year that they wanted to add crypto payment as a payment option as well to all of these merchants. And so they selected us last year. Again, we felt awesome because, a 1-year-old company at the time compared to our competitors that were, a zillion times more funded than we were at the time. That's been out there, big name recognition. But what we had, we created something, a better mousetrap, so to speak, a very easy to pay, very easy one click. We supported, tons of different currencies that no one else was really thinking about. They were just thinking about the 1, 2, or 3 of the top currencies. We spent some time integrating with them. They've been going live now, are currently in the process of some of their initial merchants, and we expect that will just continue. But again, they have more than 80,000 merchants. These are some of the largest in the world. And so in the future, when you go to pay for something and you'll just see, oh, pay with crypto. And when you do that payment, you may not see Rocketfuel because we have a white label solution, but it's a very high likelihood that we would be that payment processor behind the scenes.
Yeah. And Rohan, another thing in reference to disruption, I mean, I don't know how many people get some of those pennies in the credit card slides, but there's got to be a number of them. I don't know. I'm going to take a stab and say there's probably 4 to 5 different levels, layers of some middlemen, middle people, middle companies getting paid. And I would assume that what we're talking about with your technology on the block, they're gone. Like you're wiping them out, right? Yeah. I mean, I've seen this. I know how this party works. I've seen so many different industries I've been a part of that, hey, man, the times are changing. And if you don't get with the new infrastructure, if you don't get with the new technology, you're going to be like standing at the back going, oh, did I miss the memo? So crypto payments, bank payments, and cross-border settlement. Are those the 3 keys to what you guys are delivering?
Yeah, but I mean, when you think of Web3 technology, the scope is so much wider. If you kind of backtrack like 25 years ago, and before the internet was a real reality, even though the technology exists, but the adoption hadn't, right? And you can imagine a lot of different companies, including the classic, blockbuster videos or stuff like this. Once the internet TCP/IP technology became a reality and all the different use cases that came up, the bottom line is that the internet solved a very critical problem, was how to get data from point A to point B instantly versus taking days, right? Like by the post office, etc. And how to do that with just online technology. Blockchain is solving that problem regarding how to transmit value pretty much instantly, meaning if value could be money, therefore I want to buy something, but oh, you're in India, I'm in here, right? How can the merchant, provide, some kind of a product or value, and I can pay for it, and he gets paid right away. It does with cross-border payments as well, but it goes more than payments. As well, tokenization of assets, for example, real estate. We're seeing NFTs as well. How can I create and own that, and someone purchase it, and I can transfer that ownership to anywhere in the world pretty much instantly? All of that is blockchain technology. So we're focused on the payment side of it, our company, Rocketfuel Blockchain, but there's so many other projects that are going on right now that's focused on all the other different tokenization aspects of blockchain to be able to transmit value pretty instantly. So it's a it's a huge market. It will affect pretty much everyone. It'll be hard to not be impacted by that, to the level that it's pretty much impossible today that you're not impacted by the internet one way or another. And we're seeing a similar paradigm that's happening today with Web3, which is really, and by the way, definition for, not everyone understands Web3 is yet. Web3 is if you add two protocols, so I try not to get too technical here.
That's
so
good.
we have one protocol is called TCP/IP, and that is what we generically call the internet, right? That's the so everything internet. And then we're adding another protocol to that. We're not replacing the internet, we're adding value to the internet, and that is a blockchain protocol, right? And that adds stuff to the internet that was not really so easy or possible to do before the blockchain protocol. When you add these two protocols together, that's what's called Web3, meaning that all the cool things you can do with the internet, plus all the cool things you can do with blockchain, you put it into one box and you call that Web3.
Well, you know why I love that you did that just now is because Rohan hasn't said this yet, but I'm going to plug it now. He does a little video out there on the what is it, 101 basics of blockchain?
Yeah, so I've been teaching for a long time off and on.
Yeah.
And like and you know what, my first job in technology, I was in college, I was 19. I was teaching computer programming at an elementary school and after program adults as well. But I like teaching. I've done a lot of corporate training, and recently I'm like, you know what, let's just put together a couple of classes. One is blockchain fundamentals and access for metaverse and NFTs. And so recently released that. You can hit me up on LinkedIn if you want to get some more information about that as well.
Let's get a plug on that later near the end, because I think you got like a real soothing voice, somebody that could teach some of the basics. I think all the AOL listeners were just listening into that bit for the Web3. Okay, let's keep rolling. This is awesome. Let's go to AI for a second. Let's talk about the ingredients within your tech. How much does AI play in your technology? Obviously, we know lots of blockchain, but is AI kind of like the salt and pepper, the key, or is it kind of like a, I don't know, side condiment? How much play does it have?
Yeah, I think the answer to that is that there are a lot of different things that we're looking at and integrating right now. AI is not the core component, but if you think about when people talk about the metaverse right now, and the metaverse is really, think of it as a user experience on top of Web3. And we now think of the metaverse as AR, VR, augmented reality, virtual reality. When you think of people with those, goggles and they're playing and cool looking stuff. So that's basically the beginning of this really, really amazing trend of technology called the metaverse. And so people are looking at it through that lenses right now, but what's really going to happen, what's really happening, that's just one of the core components of Web3 and metaverse. We'll be adding AI technology on that layer, right? As an industry, we'll be adding, different technologies as well, like IoT.
Yeah, you guys are going to blow up. I mean, the number of partners are going to want to plug in, especially the fact that you've pioneered and just blazed some trails down. That's incredible.
So you're going to see this particular entire area, not just us, but also others within the space that are going to start looking at all of these emerging technologies. There are about a dozen different technologies that are emerging today at the same time. How do you take those technologies and intertwine them into what you're doing to create a much better mousetrap, right? And so we are one of the companies that are looking at these kinds of things and figuring out what's the best way to create value for our customers. And so we're pretty convinced that this is where this entire industry will go. And over the next 5 to 10 years, you'll see what we're looking at now as a metaverse will just be considered day one compared to where we'll be in the next few years.
So Rohan, I shared with you that I have a very wide audience. I've got those in their 20s in 30s that are really high on the Web3, and then I got those in their 40s and their 50s and up that are into just the startup life altogether. You're in the hiring process. When you hire people on, I want you to think right now about, young people coming out of college. It doesn't have to be young, but just anybody coming out of college. Let's ratchet it back like 3-4 years. Those that are just like starting. Like, what are some of the key classes or some of the key courses that you're telling young people right now that are going into college or taking classes? What's key for you? What are you looking at when you're buzzing down the resume? What are you looking for?
It's a really good question. And this is something I've spoken to others that are in college. Look at emerging technologies. What's really going on with blockchain? It's gonna be hard to avoid that. And having that knowledge on your resume will open doors, I think a lot for you. And it's not, by the way, one of the things when we talk about emerging technologies, I think sometimes people think that you're talking about coding or you're a developer. No, 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 no. There are thousands of jobs today, thousands, tens of thousands, the different website. If you're someone that's interested in Web3 kind of jobs, just Google Web3 jobs and you'll find websites with tens of thousands of open opportunities. What you'll realize is that many of them have nothing to do with coding, right? The marketing folks need to understand Web3, need to understand blockchain, need to understand AI. They need to understand how to target this kind of technology within the different markets. The sales guys, how do you talk around that? If you don't really understand the basics, you can't talk about it, right? The managers, how do you make decisions regarding these kind of technologies, regarding the partners that are talking about this technology, and how do you hire people? How do you even know what they're talking about? So I think the entire world, this is really, I believe, quite factual. We're moving from a pretty much flat Web2 world to a more dynamic Web3 world. And blockchain is one of the technologies in the Web3 world. It is not the only one. So I would look for things like, certainly blockchain, AI, IoT. I'd look at stuff. I like nanotech. There's a lot going on in that space as well. AR, VR clearly are key for metaverse. Look at stuff like edge computing. There's a lot going on in that space as well. Quantum is not as far behind as people like to think. So quantum computing, it's a little bit further out than the rest, but it's also emerging very quickly. Look at stuff like neomorphic computing. That's advanced a lot in the last few years. These are neomorphic chips that are designed to act similar to the way the brain functions. And they've made a lot of advances to that. I think those are some of the really
those are all awesome. I can tell you right now, you just created a highlight. As you're telling this whole thing, I'm thinking to myself, this minute right here, I'm going to capture this. And for all the universities where I go and I speak or just out on the show and I put clips out, that you just did a clip. That was an epic clip because people want to know, hey, what classes, there's club days for colleges and they're getting involved. And I'm always telling them, don't just pick one. Get involved in a diverse, group of different clubs because that's going to help you when you go out and get that real job. And those that are in a job that they're like, God, I've been in this technology sector. I've been doing this thing for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and I want to do something fresh and something new. You guys just heard it right there. Talk about the startup life. Let's switch over. I don't think that the Rocketfuel blockchain is your first baby that you've ever been involved with on the ground floor of startups. Is good, safe guess?
Very safe guess.
Been here, done this before. How would you describe the startup life, the one that you've participated in? It sounds like now first of all, how long have you actually been on board with Rocketfuel?
2 years.
Yeah. Okay. The last 2 years, describe the startup life there in 3 words.
Epic. And it's dynamic. It's epic. It's dynamic. It's fast. It is very different than if you're working for a large company and you have something to do and you have 6 months to do it. If you're in a startup, that same thing, you'll need to get it done in 1 or 2 weeks, right? Yeah. It really is that different. And if you want to be in an environment that someone tells you what to do every day and you take weeks or months to get around to it, startup life is not for you. Startup life is, we just learned that our competitors doing the stuff, and we've been thinking about it, but where's the advantage of doing that? You're making decisions very, very fast, informed, but very, very fast. And then you're putting together solutions very, very fast. And then you're developing and deploying very, very fast, right?
Yeah.
And you will notice that difference if I've worked for some really large companies as well. And I've been doing startups for more than a decade. So I have kids that we were talking about.
Yeah.
We're dads. We're
Yeah.
happy dads, right?
Yeah.
We talk about our kids, right? Just like we were before those. When my wife and I decided to have kids, some years back, we decided that let's go raise them on the beach someplace. I'm from Jamaica originally, so I grew up on the beach. Not lots of money. Jamaica's a poor country, but still I had a great childhood. And when we started having kids, I'm like, you know what? I want to do the same, raise the kids on the beach. So we packed up the kids, moved to Barcelona, and basically disappeared for about 10 years off the grid, right? And the way that we paid the bills, I just had startups, right? So I had an office about a block away from this really cool beach, a little beach town,
Nice.
right outside Barcelona. And I just take my bicycle to work.
Love
that was
it.
my life. I walked the block for lunch, and I had a little office, and all our clients were in the USA for the most part. And so I built the company. I eventually did an exit with that some years after, but I've been doing startups for a long time. And now we're at Rocketfuel. What I really love about Rocketfuel, I didn't found the company, but I'm one of the early guys, and we basically started building the company with myself and the CEO, Peter Jensen.
Dream team.
Yeah, exactly. No, we really do bring together a really great amount of experience, right? So definitely dream team. And so Peter brings with him a lot of experience with building companies as well. I bring a lot of experience with creating just really cool technology for startups and being able to work in a very dynamic pace. And so that's what we've been doing at Rocketfuel. We spent the first year, built stuff out, did all the funding stuff that we needed to do, signed up, really great partners and clients. And year two was continuing, with that journey, stabilizing things, building out our team more, attracting, really great partners. And now we're about to get into year three, and it's just scalability. So that's kind of where we're right now.
That's crazy when I hear you say year three, because I mean, everything you've laid out and shared what your team has done, it seems like you guys are like year 5, 7. It takes companies like you obviously have a dream team because it takes epic people. It takes a process to get everybody to work together. And then, yeah, by the way, if your end product ends up being some little masterpiece that everybody has a demand and needs to get their hands on, yeah, that can help you hyper accelerate. All right. Time to play Find the Epic in You. All right, here's where we go. Ask some questions to Mr. Rohan Hall. And I've got about 6 up on the deck. So let's go. Number 1. I think you just gave the first one away. Where were you born?
Jamaica.
Yes, Jamaica.
Montego Bay, Jamaica.
Love Jamaica. Where you live now? Actually, I already know that one, but let's share with everybody that you are living in the OC.
I'm living in the OC.
Living in the OC, which stands for
California.
Organized Chaos. Here behind the orange curtain. For those of you who don't know, look it up on a map. It's between San Diego and Los Angeles. Boop, right in the middle. If you've ever been to the OP Pro, that's Huntington Beach. Close enough. Not exactly where we live, but then again, we don't want to tell you exactly where we live. Just know that we're in the OC. How long have you worked in technology?
Oh, jeez, dude. Now you're aging me. 30 plus years. I just put the plus after that. But
you know what's beautiful though? I mean, listen, and you told the story earlier. You took the jump to go live life and show your kids how you grew up. I love that because I don't see any stress in that. There's no stress. And look at you, man. You still look like a young lad. There's no stress in your life. Number 4, as a man, well-traveled, what is one of your top 3 destinations in your crosshairs for one of your next adventures? Perhaps somewhere where you haven't been yet.
I definitely have a passion for Spain still. I think it's just really just fit my, my attitude and the way that I look at the world. So Spain will be my number 1 country.
Marbella, Mallorca, where have you not been there?
No, I mean, I've been all over Spain.
Okay.
But I mean, as far as I think the question was my favorite. As far as where I would like to be, we're speaking now about doing, the kids have not been to Asia, even though I've been to many of the countries in Southeast Asia and Japan and so forth. So the next trip may be somewhere in Asia. Where we're looking at different countries right now.
If we had Rohan Hall's happy hour at 4 o'clock coming this Friday, and you invited me to come on over and I belly up to the bar, what's one of the unique concoctions that you're going to pull one of those spirits from behind the wet bar? Is it going to be some interesting liqueur, a spirit, a particular bottle of wine? What are we pouring up there on a happy hour?
Happy hour, if it's happy hour, they're probably one of two things. It'll probably be a margarita or it'll be a gin and tonic for happy hour. After that, then it's all open. But
Well,
typically
I already told you that I'd take you over to Javi's and we'll get a couple Cadillac margaritas on the rocks with salt. God, that sounds good right now. It's not even Friday yet. We'll have to make sure we stick to that plan. Last question. I'm putting out an Epic magazine. I'm going to put you on the cover. Let's go for the November issue. What's the caption going to say?
Wow. Life is great.
There you go, man. That's exactly what I would expect. Something that nice and fresh statement from Rohan. All right. So Rohan, I told you earlier, but we're going to do a little bit different. There's a lot of entrepreneurs listening. So stare into camera number one, throw a couple of pieces, like one or two nuggets out there for people thinking about taking the jump to get into a startup, start a company themselves based on a great idea that has been just edged in their mind. It's itching in their belly. What are some little gold nuggets you can throw out there to kind of push them to take that jump?
Take some massive action today. That's it. Just, you can sit around and think about it forever. Take some action today, and every day even if it's a small 10 minutes, do something every day towards whatever goal. So first is, the way that I like to say it is that if I know that I want to go to Florida, right? Let's say I want to go to Miami. First decide that I want to go to Miami, right? And then as far as how to get there, you'll figure out how to get there. But first decide I want to go to Miami. This is my objective. Be very objective focused, right? This is my objective, to go to Miami, and to go to Miami before the end of this month. It's good to put some timelines in it as well. And then how do I go to Miami? Then that's a different question, right? Maybe I'll drive, maybe I'll fly, maybe I'll take a bicycle. People are too caught up on the how to get there and then never get started, right? Versus first deciding on the objective. Where do you want to go and when do you want to achieve that? And then every day, maybe you start out, well, I'm going to take a fly. Oh crap, I can't afford the airline ticket. Oh, what else can I do? Oh, maybe I can drive the car and I can afford gas, right? It doesn't really matter the how to get there. First decide where you want to go, within, when do you want to get there, and then every day do something towards achieving a goal.
Yeah. Take the steps little by little. And you know what, for those of you that are trying to think about making a switch in your career or looking to break into Web3, get a job in Web3. Good chance you're going to end up in Miami, because a lot of jobs will take you there with a lot of different seminars and conferences that are happening down there aside from here in LA. So great advice. I like it. Have you had the epic experience today, Mr. Hall?
I've had an epic experience. Thank you very much. And I want to do one last plug. Please. I have an amazing, really killer team, and I like to give props to everyone. Amazing developers, amazing sales team. The leadership, myself, as well as the CEO, as well as our chairman, as well as our CFO. I think it's really great to have a really strong team, not just at the leadership level, but also at all different levels. And I think I'm very fortunate to have that with this particular team that we're working with.
100%. Throw a website out there for the company, and how can people follow you?
Rocketfuelblockchain.com, just rocketfuelblockchain.com, and you'll be able to find us there. If you want to connect with me, the easiest way is just go to LinkedIn and just search for Rohan Hall, and you can always ping me on LinkedIn.
That's it. And then I want the last plug to be, if they want to go check out your Blockchain 101 course.
Okay. Meta Labs, METALABS.LA, like in Los Angeles. So
it is.
Meta Labs at LA, and I have a couple blockchain courses. The whole idea is that you can learn blockchain within a few minutes, and you don't need to know anything about technology.
That's what
And
I'm
so
talking
that's
about.
what we do.
Nice, simple, easy, and listen to the voice. It's soothing. This guy's going to get his own podcast going. And hey, I'll send it to be your first guest. Promise.
That's your thing, dude. I'm just happy to be on yours. Thank you for
Awesome,
inviting me.
my man. Listen, kill the music, bring up the lights, take a look around, and ask yourself the question, how the hell did I get here? I don't know much, but I do know that I'm glad that you all made it here today. Starting with you, Rohan. Thank you so much. Another epic video podcast is waiting for you in the vault. If you guys want to go listen to another one, watch another one, head over to the vault. You head over to epicstartswithep.com. If you got on your list, hey, I need to be kind and generous, should be on that list. Let me help you with 3 things you can do. Number 1, go subscribe on the platform that brought you here today. Number 2, I get the middle finger on the 405. Hopefully I'll get a thumbs up from you. Give me a thumbs up. And then the last thing, I'm out there on the social sphere, Twitter, Insta, TikTok. You guys can find me on all the social. Epic starts with EP, and of course, LinkedIn, edwardpreston.ai. Thanks again for tuning in today. I'll catch you guys all real soon on the next episode. And remember, everything epic starts with EP.